The pilots who defeated a hijacker FedEx Flight 705. FedEx Flight 705 was the target of a spectacular hijacking attempt on April 7, 1994, which put the flight crew's bravery and resolve to the test. When a disgruntled employee named Auburn R. Calloway hijacked the ship, the crew violently retaliated, and the situation swiftly turned into a life-or-death conflict. In addition to ensuring the aircraft's safety, their outstanding deeds demonstrated the tremendous bravery and professionalism of pilots in emergency situations. This incident is still a potent illustration of aviation heroism. Number 7. Incident Overview. An important case study in aviation safety and crisis management was the spectacular hijacking of a McDonnell Douglas DC-1030 freighter FedEx Flight 705 on April 7, 1994. 3 crew members, including Captain David G. Sanders, First Officer James M. Tucker, Jr., and trip engineer Andrew H. Peterson, were to travel with the cargo on the trip from Memphis International Airport to San Jose International Airport. The FedEx flight engineer, Auburn R. Calloway, who was traveling as a deadhead passenger, was one of the passengers. The hijacking occurred during the plane's climb, just after takeoff, when Calloway began his murderous scheme. The crew's training and resolve were put to the test during this incident, which also exposed flaws in the aviation security procedures in place at the time. Because of the event's dramatic quality, it attracted public attention and increased awareness of possible threats that could originate in the cockpit, which sparked conversations about strengthening security protocols for both crew and passengers. Number 6. Hijacker's intent. Deeply ingrained psychological crisis and financial desperation were Auburn R. Calloway's driving forces behind the hijacking of Flight 705, which speaks to larger concerns about mental health and employee support in high-stress industries like aviation. He came up with a frightening plan to kill the crew and crash the plane, making it look like an accident because he was facing job instability as a result of performance problems and growing debt. His goal was to get his family a $2.5 million life insurance payout because he thought it would give them financial security after his death. Calloway demonstrated a premeditated wish to commit murder rather than merely hijack the flight for ransom or other reasons by carefully planning his activities and arriving at the airport with weapons hidden in a guitar case, more precisely, a spear gun and hammers. In addition to highlighting his personal struggles, this dark scheme sparked conversations about how airlines could better recognize and support workers experiencing psychological discomfort and sparked concerns about employee mental health and support networks in high-stress industries like aviation. Number 5. Attack on crew. As Flight 705 soared through 19,000 feet about 26 minutes after takeoff, Calloway began his vicious assault on the flight crew with ruthless rage. He pounded hammers into Captain David G. Sanders, First Officer James M. Tucker, Jr., and flight engineer Andrew H. Peterson, causing serious and maybe lethal injuries. The attack was frantic and horrifying. Tucker suffered several fractures to his skull from the strong blows that left him confused and in terrible pain, while Captain Sanders suffered major cuts to his head and lost a portion of his ear in the conflict. As he tried to protect himself from Calloway's constant attacks, Peterson also suffered terrible injuries, such as a broken skull and a severed artery, which caused him to bleed heavily. It is imperative that prompt action be taken to restore control of the aircraft before it is transformed into a lethal weapon, as the attack was so heinous that it not only endangered the lives of the crew, but also the safety of everyone on board. Number 4. Crew's response. The crew of Flight 705, in spite of their severe injuries and the turmoil surrounding them, showed incredible bravery and tenacity by fighting back against their attacker. To stop Calloway from seizing control of the cockpit, First Officer Tucker acted decisively by performing forceful movements that confused him. Extreme climbs and descents, as well as fast turns that featured inverted flying maneuvers, were all things he did while coping with a great degree of physical discomfort from his injuries. This was an important tactical reaction that kept Calloway off balance, as Tucker handled the aircraft aggressively to try to catch him off guard. He found it difficult to hold his footing or restore control. While attempting to stabilize himself physically in a seriously compromised position, Captain Sanders coordinated their responses and maintained excellent communication with Tucker and Peterson in spite of his injuries, exhibiting exceptional leadership in the face of difficulty. Their combined actions demonstrated strong crisis management teamwork. They capitalized on each other's skills and abilities to successfully handle this potentially fatal circumstance. Number 3. Emergency landing. It took extraordinary concentration under pressure for the crew to keep Flight 705 under control and get ready for an emergency landing back at Memphis International Airport, despite their injuries and the fierce battle with Calloway. A major reason that hindered their landing approach was the fuel load, which caused the DC-10 to be well above its allowable landing weight. Other difficulties included a longer stopping distance once on the ground. Nevertheless, they managed to steer the plane back toward Memphis while informing air traffic control of critical information about their predicament by cooperation and sheer willpower. Despite their physical limits from the injuries they incurred during the attack, they performed emergency procedures with precision, lowering landing gear while carefully controlling speed and altitude. They concentrated on stabilizing the airplane for landing as they swooped toward Memphis finally. Landing safely and without any more incidents demonstrated their unyielding will to live in the face of tremendous odds and was a credit to their piloting prowess. Number 2. Legal consequences. Following Flight 705's successful landing, Auburn R. Calloway was captured by police at Memphis International Airport shortly after the plane touched down. Officers swiftly arrived to secure the area around the plane, and he was taken into prison without any additional incidents. The seriousness of his offenses against other crew members and the wider ramifications for aviation security procedures in general were reflected in the significant accusations he faced for his violent acts during the flight, which included attempted murder and air piracy. Aviation industry professionals and the general public closely followed the ensuing legal proceedings, which demonstrated how seriously authorities take human threats in commercial aviation environments and how such incidents can affect future airline operations regulations. Following his conviction on several charges pertaining to his assault on the crew, including attempted murder, Calloway was given 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of release in 1996. This ruling represented both justice for his victims and a legislative commitment to ensuring aviation safety. Number 1. Legacy of Heroism. The FedEx Flight 705 event has come to symbolize aviation heroism. It demonstrates how common people can rise to great obstacles in life-threatening situations by displaying courage under fire when confronted with unthinkable difficulty during crises such as this one. Captain Sanders, First Officer Tucker, and Flight Engineer Peterson's extraordinary bravery not only saved their lives, but also made sure that no other passengers were hurt during this terrifying ordeal. This fact has struck a deep chord in aviation circles and with audiences around the world who have learned about their story over time through a variety of media outlets, including documentaries that highlight brave acts under pressure, like those that were witnessed firsthand by those directly involved during those terrifying moments aboard FedEx Flight 705 itself. Numerous aviation organizations have commended them for their bravery in the face of Fire ALPA Airline Pilots Association, and other aviation safety groups awarded them medals for their bravery, highlighting the importance of preparedness training in addressing potential threats, such as those posed by hijackers attempting similar attacks against commercial flights today. This serves as an inspiring reminder of the importance placed on training programs specifically designed to improve overall safety protocols used throughout airline industry operations going forward. The hijacking of FedEx Flight 705 remains a powerful testament to the courage and resilience of its crew in the face of extreme danger. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe.